Broadcasting from Hollywood, California. It's Grant's Rants, Hollywood Talk.
On our most useless episode ever, there's no mention of the biggest story in the world. We get a break to hear the latest from Britney. We're reviewing the Whoop It Up with Vicki podcast. Harvey Weinstein is sentenced finally, and I hate watched Netflix's Love is Blind. Kirsty Moore rejoins the Rants. Let the ranting begin. I am joined by my friend from afar, Kirsty Moore, the host of reality TV NB. Welcome to Grant's Rants.
Hey, I always feel like I have to say g'day, mate, whenever I do a US correspondence, because I'm just like the Aussie representative of reality TV, it seems.
That's true. Welcome back, I should say, because I love having you on the show, because I'm actually quite a fan of your own podcast. There are very few that I actually listen to these days.
That's so cute. I love that so much, because I don't know if you remember the first time you ever came on podcast, I was like, okay, just so you know, I'm kind of fangirling out a little bit right now. I just need to take a breath. And I was so excited to have you on. And obviously I was just starting out. That was a year ago now.
Oh my God.
And I know it's just gone so fast. So I'm like 60. I just did my 60th episode. Yay.
Good for
you. Now we're in the flow, and now you're fangirling me, and I love it.
Let's talk a few things first. This is a safe place for everyone listening. I want you to know that we will not be discussing the CV. That's what I'm calling it. I'm not even going to say the word because it has just totally taken over everyone's life. And this whole podcast will be about everything that's not related to that. It was like cramming for a research paper, I will say. It was very, very difficult because so much crosses over with this horrible CV, and it's just, I just wanted to give everyone a break, including myself. There will be no discussion about it. Everyone needs a break, and hopefully you can find that here on the Rants. So let's get started with a bunch of nonsense, very unimportant things, but I think people will find them interesting. Britney Spears, a Britney Spears update. Did you see this Us Weekly broke an article about her really revolting, protesting the conservatorship? Did you catch this?
Yes, I've been seeing it on the socials, and I'm actually so proud of her. I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited that her son is speaking out as well, even though they kind of have shut down. He did a video that was a video live on Instagram, and let his feelings be known about the situation with Britney's dad and the control of her money. And look, I mean, he didn't hold back, and I'm just like, yes, you go, because I mean, it's just such a crazy situation that she's in.
I thought that video was fascinating. People who are really hardcore fans were like, oh my God, I feel so bad for Britney that her son would do that. But I was like captivated because there's such mystery around Britney, and we have not gotten a look inside. And probably, my God, I mean, there was chaotic. I can't really think of too much. I mean, she doesn't do any press anymore. Not that that's a look inside, but, this was of her son in his bedroom in Kevin Federline's, I'm not even going to say mansion because it's probably like, I mean, we'll be lucky if it's like a 3-bedroom with like, what does he have, 6 kids?
K-Fed.
But it was great just to like get like a little bit of a perspective, because like these kids, they're online, they're on the Instagram, and they're out in the world, and you don't have to go too far these days to hear about Free Britney. So I thought it was really just an interesting moment. Apparently there was this article through the blast that said like she has no idea like he even did that. Nothing's gotten back to her. So she's like, talk about, I was going to use the keyword quarantine, but I mean, talk about just like cut off from the world. I mean, is she able to go online? Like, I fear for her more than ever on the daily. Like, I'm constantly worried about her.
Right. So this is what I'm being confused about in the whole Free Britney kind of scandal. Is it her choice not to be online, or not? Like, is she hiding out because she wants some privacy, or is that part of, the conspiracy against her with her team kind of blocking her from, speaking out.
I think it could be two things. I think it could be like the team trying to like keep her off things. Like, here, you want to post on Instagram, take these pictures and videos and send them to this email address, and then this social team will post them. Or it could be a situation where she just isn't that interested / have the capability of doing it. I feel like she kind of, maybe, I don't know this for sure, but I think she maybe operates maybe on like more of like a 20-year-old level, because she never really got to like grow up. It's no fault of her own, And I just wonder if maybe she doesn't know how it all works and really doesn't care to go online, because it's not like something like you and I do. Like, we wake up, we check Instagram, like it's just not part of her life. I don't know. I could be making excuses. I just don't know. This is a really unique life. I mean, I can't begin to imagine and to understand. But what else was she doing? So she's refusing to record new music, according to this article. It says, out of, quote, resentment for her father, Jamie, and the rules of her conservatorship, unquote. I'm glad that someone's talking about this. I know for a fact, like, there's a lot of NDAs around people who have worked with her, but it's just odd that this article would come out now. I just feel like Free Britney has been a thing for a long time. But the thing is, I don't expect any free music from her, any new music. I don't expect anything new. I really don't. It'd be nice, but like, I want them to sort out this conservatorship. I think we're lucky to get anything, but basically, what was I going to say here? I'm trying to find it in my notes. The father completely controls her life. She's been trying to get out of it forever. The public perception is that he did a great thing by saving her and all that, and he's ridden that wave for a long time. But I think there comes a point where there's an abuse of power, and if she's well enough to go on all these tours, then she should be well enough to take care of herself. Or if she's not, then she shouldn't be out there.
Exactly. You can't really have both. You can't be saying someone is too unwell to be able to take control of their own finances, and then also push them out there like a show pony and make them dance just because you say so. It's not fair, and I really, really feel for her. I don't even need more Britney Spears music. We've got enough people that she was like the first Britney Spears, but now we've got we've had Miley, we've got all of these people that are like kind of in her footsteps, in her shadow. There's enough people to fill the void. She should be allowed to just live her life now. She's been in the public spectrum 20 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's time to take a breather, especially if she's not happy. I mean, if you want to continue being a superstar, awesome, all power to you. Like, Mariah did it for a long time. I mean, 50-year-old J-Lo is whipping it up, but she just doesn't seem that she's enjoying herself anymore.
Yeah, I don't think she ever had a chance to be a person. I mean, they've taken her children from her, and they keep changing how much she can see them. So she didn't even have the opportunity to be a mother. I mean, it's just a shame. And of course, there are people listening who are like, well, there's a reason for all of that. Maybe that her mental capacity isn't where it needs to be. But like, I mean, again, the perfume ads, the touring, they were going to have her do that whole show, Domination. Yeah. So, I mean, what is it?
They're still using her as a cash cow while, like kicking her while she's down. It's messy.
Going back to her son, I mean, there was an outcry right there. He's like, well, I'll tell you everything if you give me 5,000 followers, or I want to make money. Like, even he understands that she's a cash cow, which is sad. But I mean, at the same time, like, that's how 13-year-olds speak. I mean, they want, like, sure, well, give me some follows, give me some likes, I mean, I don't know.
Yikes.
So, a source says that if she continues to work, she remains under the conservatorship, and she resents giving her dad a monthly allowance of around $10,000 a month just to oversee her finances. And there's going to be a conservatorship. Well, conservatorship was extended, but there's going to be another hearing later this year. I wonder how many years it takes to like make a change in a conservatorship. I know anything in the law takes a long time, but we've been at this now for almost a year. I want to know, like, is there a light at the end of the tunnel for this woman?
I want to know if anyone's actually on her side, or if it's just people kind of shutting down anyone trying to get in that's actually helpful. Like, is her dad more powerful right now, and he has more people surrounding her that are keeping her down than she has pulling her up? And if that's the case, it's going to be really hard for her to get out of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the lawyers because he makes all the money off of her that then is able to fund getting people like Michael Jackson's attorneys to go against her in court. So it's like she's funding the very people that are keeping her down. I don't know.
Oh my God. That is like, I actually feel sick. I mean,
I know.
We had Lindsay Lohan's father. We've had Amy Winehouse's father. What is wrong with these men? Get your shit together, boys.
I know, making money off the back of your own daughter. Now, the thing is, I want to watch that movie, Judy. I love Renee Zellweger. Shout out to her for winning everything. I would love to see it, but I have had, other people tell me even recently, like, ooh, it's kind of a sad comparison, and I just don't know, man. I don't know if I can put myself through it. But all right, we're gonna keep it positive. We're gonna keep it light. There's too much going on.
We were meant to be positive, like talking about celebrity death. All right, let's talk about something else.
Let's talk about Whoop It Up with Vicki. This podcast surprised me. There's 3 episodes out there so far. People are groaning listening because I'm telling you, the Vicki train is short and there's not a lot of people on it. But I will say, listen, this podcast is worth listening to just purely to hear about how these shows are produced, how they were developed. There was a lot of inside stuff, very insider. She gave away a lot of little secrets, production, scheduling, the vacations, a little bit about Brooks, how the last reunion, she talked all about how she was set up.
I love this podcast. I have been putting it off because, I want to be in the loop. I want to know what's going on with my gals. But I just thought, after seeing her get fired or, contract not renewed,
right.
as she's been saying, or Andy's been whispering in her ear. I just thought, it's going to be really negative. And it's so good. There's so, like you say, there's so many little tidbits she comes up with. Steve Lodge, who I never liked on the show and just thought was the world's most bland person. He spills all the tea. Like when Vicki's kind of dancing around a topic and trying to be really nice about her exes, he's just like comes in the room. He's like, "What are you talking about? Why are you saying all these guys are great? What the hell?"
Yeah.
It's good.
He can say a lot of what she can't because he was never under a contract. But the thing is now, she had Angie Cohen on the 3rd episode. I bet these are recorded out of order or banked beforehand, before the release, because she let a lot of stuff out, even about how Evolution Story produces the show. That stuff Angie Cohen can't handle any type of question that makes him uncomfortable. It's like he has no chill. So I can only imagine if he knew what they talked about, he wouldn't be guesting on her show. He'd probably hit her with some type of fine. But she's not under contract anymore because of their decision, so she can really kind of do whatever she wants. So it's like, kind of be careful what you wish for. You wanted to sever ties with Vicki, and now she's going to show you how the sausage is made, and I am here to listen to all of it. It confirmed a lot of what I already knew. It confirmed a lot, which is always good because it's like, verifies like, okay, I'm not crazy,
I totally, the way that she talks about, and I agree with you. I think because I was confused when that 3rd episode had Andy Cohen on it, and it's almost an hour. It's a long episode. I'm like, how is this conversation so kind of calm and civil? And he never, like he always will, anytime I've heard him talk to either Tamra or Vicki, since they got let go, anytime they ever bring up the fact they got fired, he doesn't even really respond at all. He kind of just goes silent until the girls awkwardly laugh, and then it gets weird and let somebody else ask a new question. It's such a bizarre response, but he does it every single time. And he does that in this, but he never really gets deep with them. That's why it's I was so surprised that these first 2 episodes actually had some decent content, because I saw the upcoming one would have Andy. I'm like, oh, she's got to keep it, pretty surface level. Nope. She talks about how she accidentally saw a storyboard once, and she was like, wait, what the hell is this? And the producers told her to never mention that she'd seen how they manipulate these fights between people on a storyboard. She just thought they were filming real life. She thought these fights were real. and it all was just kind of, her fourth wall was broken, which was a surprise for me because I thought the girls knew. I thought the housewives knew that they were, playing this game, which I think many of them do. But Vicki seems to have just spent the last 15 years kind of tra-la-la-la-la.
Yeah.
Not knowing that she's on a TV show.
I remember Tamra said in the press once, she was like, every year I have to explain to Vicki how this works. Like, doesn't she realize at this point, she's been on the show longer than I have. I think Vicki really is just like out of it. I think that she's very sharp. I think that she's not worried about self-producing. She's not worried about like someone like a Jennifer Aiden or a Bronwyn Wynn who are like, this is like all that I have. I have to say I'm a housewife and I'm an MVP. She's like, look, I'm here to sell insurance and see my grandkids and I record a reality show in that order. And,
and I think
I get it.
Sorry. I think that's because that's the way she was there at the very beginning. And that's what it was. It was just her world with her family and her job, and then it kind of has grown into the beast that it is, which we know and love. Right. But because she was in so early, she never got to really look at it from the other side. That's Vicki, and she is a wild card.
I want to get your thoughts on this because she said, or actually Steve mentioned it. He said, you're a product to them, and when they don't need you, you're out. And I have seen reality producers speak to talent and shows I worked out way in the past, and it's like they make them feel great and wonderful and empowered by the decisions they're making. But those people, they're really not making any of the decisions. It's the network and the story producers. So in the way Andy spoke to Vicki, it seemed very much like that. Like, oh, you're on top of it. You're running things. This was all about you in the beginning. Like, they give them a lot of credit, but they're the ones really running things. And now they don't need her as a product anymore. I don't know. What do you think of that?
I completely agree. And coming from myself being in the music industry and trying to sell myself and realizing how many people, you really have to buy you, and you have to get on side while you're still kind of producing and recording. And when you're creating tracks, they're like, yes, they tell you exactly what you want to hear. And I'm like small fry, nobody knows who I am. Nobody ever has with my music, but even that kind of level, they will just kind of yes ma'am you, so that you feel like so bigged up. And as soon as the music's out, or as soon as like they realize, okay, hey, it's not taking off in the way that we thought it would, it's like who are you? It really are just dropped, and there's no contact. And that's why I was so surprised that she's even having these conversations with Andy. Like, she even wants to, because it really is like a 15-year-long manipulation. That's how I would see it. Like, personally, this is so weird, but I feel personally attacked by Andy. I feel hurt. I feel like he's let us viewers down because, if you can really just drop your housewives like that. Look, when they want to take a break, when it's like, Nene was going through some Bethany needed some time off. When they need to when they decide to take a break, yeah, of course, let them. But when it's housewives like Vicki and Tamra who have been there through the dirt and have brought you so much drama, so many viewers, they're good housewives. I think it's really quite cruel and wrong just to be like, okay, well, thank you for that, bye.
Yeah. And
I don't like it.
And so,
I've lost my love of Andy a little bit.
Like, I call him the card reader because that he's so disengaged. It's about all he can do is read the cards and prompters. It's like, there are a lot of other people, even celebrities who would love to moderate a reunion, just saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought it was really gross when he was like, well, don't worry, Vicki, you're really not out, because we'll still be able to use you like at BravoCon. And it's like,
my God. So wrong. And it's to go back to what we were kind of talking about before, he's still producing her, as far as I could hear in this interview. You know, he's still manipulating her by giving her hope that there's going to be a new show on the horizon, that this, you know, there's going to be options for her. We'll still have you on Watch What Happens Live. We'll still have you on these events. Like, don't tell me there's going to be a new show if there's no intent. And I really don't believe a word he's saying. I just feel like he's just keeping her on the back burner in case the fans revolt and, you know, really kick up a stink and want her back. There's not going to be a Gunvalson rules, for example.
Oh, God. So,
set in the insurance biz.
Yeah. Someone like Vicki, who is successful, she should really say, you know what? Point blank, I'm done. I did it for 14 years. They're done with me. I can move on. I'm successful on my own. I'm good. I'll do my podcast. I'll sell my insurance. But fame is a drug, and she'll be there at BravoCon, and she'll be there on the Watch What Happens Live blue chairs. And, you know, she's really not going to be done because it's such a part of her identity, which I could understand. But I don't know. I would, if I were Vicki, I would personally feel highly manipulated.
Even listening to this, she doesn't see it. And Steve Lodge is like trying to just smash it into her head. Like, this is what's going on. They completely manipulated you at the reunion, made you sit there all dressed up for 6 hours. I'm not sitting anywhere for 6 hours. Like, that is outrageous. I would lose my. No wonder she was cranky. If I just at the doctor's for 20 minutes, I'm like pacing and giving people greasies. It's just not okay.
Well, I'll tell you this. That's a reality show tactic, and I saw it firsthand. I mean, they make people sit in rooms for long periods of time in between scenes or challenges or conversations, and it gets them, you know, isolated and in their head. I mean, that could have well easily been a manipulation as well. I don't know for a fact here, but it is a little bit of a flex, especially like they know they have a production schedule and they have to be done. They, you know, like we're talking about people who work in unions here. I mean, they have a strict schedule with this is any type of TV. So the fact that they had her come in at 7 a.m. is nonsense when they knew they weren't going to use her until after their first lunch or whatever. So, you know, I don't know. Fame is a drug, but it's also like comes at a price. On that note, let's take a brief break. There's a lot more good stuff to discuss, so stick with us.
You're listening to Grant's Rants. Subscribe and spread the word. There are a lot more rants to come. Listen anytime on all major podcasting platforms. And now, back to the show.
And we're back on the podcast with Kirsty Moore calling in via Skype from Australia. And I don't know really why, but I want to touch on this topic real quick. Heather McDonald and her lawsuit. What do you know about her?
She's got her own podcast, Juicy. I want to say Juicy Fruit.
Juicy Scoop. Yeah.
Juicy Fruit. Juicy Scoop. That's it. I'm like, I need some sugar. I think I'm getting tired.
Gross Jim Bellino, ex-husband of one of the housewives, sued her and Tamara and Shannon of OC, a defamation lawsuit. Well, the OC Superior Court granted Heather her request to drop the $1 million case against her. It was dismissed. Basically, what it comes down to here in the States, the First Amendment does not permit public figures to silence critics through lawsuits costing tens of thousands of dollars. Jim Bellino wanted $1 million because they gossiped about him on a podcast.
Okay, that terrifies me.
Right.
As somebody who loves to gossip about minor celebrities on my podcast, that makes me extremely nervous.
And we're talking minor, for those who don't know Jim. I mean, we're talking like F-list.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God, he's just one of the grossest house husbands that we've ever seen. He's just got that kind of red face that, you know, he's just like drinking every night. Okay, no, I can't say anything because he'll sue me.
Well, the thing is,
just kidding.
They didn't give him a good edit. They made like he is not a how can I put this, like the public opinion and perception of him based on what we saw on the show, he's just not a good guy. He just doesn't look like a nice person. And so, I mean, basically what they said was that he wasn't going to jail. He wasn't really getting a divorce. And Shannon said, allegedly that people got paralyzed at his trampoline parks, which I don't believe is true, but who knows either way. I mean, the fact that, he's suing for $1 million over this. I mean, he's just like, that's so money hungry to me,
He, to me, seems like an angry guy. I've known a couple of unfortunate people like this in my life that they're already quite rich, but I don't know if they're bored or they just seem to have a real strong, deep, bubbling anger inside and can't take, it's sort of like the Trump of it all. Can't take any criticism about themselves.
No
whatsoever.
Responsibility. Never
Exactly.
take responsibility.
Yeah.
Never going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the Superior Court threw it out because it's really nonsense. And it shouldn't have taken up all this time in our legal system. It's been years.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently for over a year, Heather hasn't been able to be in contact with Shannon or Tamra. And apparently they were pretty good friends. So we'll see where this takes us next.
This is like draining resources for people that could actually be seriously using this for an absolute nonsense case. Like
100%.
Sit down.
100%. There are so many people waiting for their case to be heard, and this is what we're talking about. Speaking about other cases, Harvey Weinstein, 23-year prison sentence in Rikers Island, of all places.
Good. Get rid of him.
Yeah, it's about damn time. How the hell long has this been going on for?
Oof.
Why do we have to have all these trials? Just let's be done with this now. I mean, these people, these poor women, they have to relive these circumstances and the most public of platforms. I mean, over and over. It's obscene.
Well, exactly. And it really goes to show how, look, he's got extensive money and power and now, notoriety. But it goes to show how much evidence you need in order to convict somebody, because there are so many cases against him. So many women have stepped up and told their stories. There is so much evidence against him, and yet he's barely been convicted on 5% of those cases. I mean, look, his lawyers are trying to argue him down to a lesser sentence, and because they're trying to sell it to us like we should care that he's going to die in prison. Good riddance. Like you can't come around and ruin all of these girls' lives and countless others, I'm sure. And then just be like, but I'm gonna die in jail, and my kids won't talk to me. I'm like, well, then you shouldn't have been a human.
This guy, he has a grown man. He has the audacity. He's begging for a light sentence. He's saying, "I'm going through hell." He's going through hell, and then he said that he's really trying. This is a quote. "I'm really trying to be a good person." I mean. Man. If that's not desperate, I mean, just see a grown man desperately begging for his own life. I mean, he should be, and nobody should listen.
Too little, too late, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're learning at 67 that you maybe needed to be a better person, too little, too late in my book.
And he goes on to say that he's, quote, one of many men that's unquote whatever. I'm paraphrasing, but he's totally confused about the complaints against him. I mean, haven't you just sat through months of trials and given statements, and you heard all these women get up there very bravely and speak and tell the story? You still don't have a clue. You're still confused. That's one thing that's a real pet peeve of mine. Adults. It doesn't even matter about being a grown man. Adults saying they're confused drives me crazy. What are you confused about? Figure it out.
I don't get it. I mean, that's so fucked up. Excuse me. This is like Kirsty's rants right now. This infuriates me, this guy. And honestly, how can you on one hand ask for claim to be remorseful and claim to be trying to be a better human, and on the other hand just be like, I don't get it. Why are they so grumpy with me? Like, just maybe if you go sit in your cell for the next 23 years and have a real good long think about it, you might get there.
I don't know if it'll ever happen. He even admitted that if he could do it all again, he'd care less about movies and care more about his children and family. But that's not the point. He's not being tried for neglecting his kids. He's not being tried for, cheating on his wife, which he obviously did. He's being tried for rape. I mean, that has nothing to do with caring less about movies.
Oh my God,
You'll
just
never
doesn't
get it.
get it.
No. Meanwhile, his old office is in Tribeca in New York. You remember Barbara from Real Housewives of New York?
This is great.
Yes.
This is a good news day. So Barbara, who we had for about, half a season, and I liked her, I have to say.
I really liked her.
Doesn't look like she'll be coming back.
No.
And look, she's a busy gal. She's got shit to do anyway. For example, smash to smithereens Weinstein's building. Yes! And she beat out all of these male-owned companies, and she's going to hire 25% females, which is good in this industry because it's a very male-focused industry. And she's like, we're just going to rip it to shreds and build it anew for a fresh start. And I'm so excited that a woman gets to take on this momentous task.
It's very smart. Whoever hired her, she said she had to go through 4 interviews, which is ridiculous these days. I mean, just to do anything, you have to jump through so many hoops. I mean, what are they really doing? I mean, they're going in there like, gutting the building, and they're going to put up some new walls, and you have to go through 4 interviews. And I mean, I'm glad though that she's doing it.
I would love that. They should just hire all the women that he's wronged. I'll fly over. I'll come over because I feel personally attacked by his wrongdoings. Everyone just get a sledgehammer and let out some of our rage, because honestly, I think that would be healing and uniting for us. But if I had to choose a housewife to do it for me, I'm going to pick Barbara. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, she's a professional. I know she'll get it done. I like it. I thought this was a nice story because it's perfect for the Rants. It's a little bit of Hollywood talk with the Housewives tie-in. So that is a good thing. Let's change topics here. I resisted for as long as I could, but I've been watching and I finished Love is Blind on Netflix. I don't know why I even bothered, but we have to talk about it because I know you podcasted extensively about it, covering it in episodes on your podcast. You were really into it. We must discuss. I don't know. I have plenty to say.
You made me laugh so much. We've been texting a little bit about it. The fact that you just were so resistant to watching this show, and I truly I gave up on you. Early on, I'm like, you got to watch this show. Let's talk about it. I want to come on your show and talk about it because I'm so addicted to it. And you're just like, oh, no, I don't want to. I watch The Circle and I like The Circle. And I was like, all right, that's
exactly
fine. Next, a week later, I'm seeing that you've watched 6 episodes and you're in deep and you're hating every second of it, but you're still in. What made you keep going? I don't understand.
I have a serious problem of hate watching shows. I mean, I really do. I waste so much of my own time watching something I don't like. Needless to say, we've had a little bit more time on our hands these days. So I was like, okay, I will stay in and watch this nonsense. I don't know. There's so much I want to say about it. First of all, at this point, after watching the reunion, I'm so sick of all the people. I couldn't care less about any of them. I'm so disinterested, more than I thought I was before. I don't understand what this one guy, this Barnett, has. And I know we talked about this in text.
Yeah.
What does this guy have?
I thought women all over were, kind of against Barnett. No, I'm like the Lone Ranger who's not into him. He, to me, is just this really basic, annoying frat boy. Amber's perfect for him. They can do body shots off each other until they're 85 and they'll be happy, and that's great. But I'm so unattracted to him. He's just physically, yeah, he's cute. He kind of looks like a tall Shia LaBeouf, and that's my that kind of the Shia kind of crazy. That's my brand. I'm happy with that. Barnett, to me, he's just a college frat boy, and I don't need that basicness in my life. But I think he's kind of, it's not real. He's like kind of the most bad boy-esque, or like, I don't know. He's got that kind of charisma that works on some people. I find it a very young kind of attraction, I guess. Like Jessica, I want to the day.
Yeah, hold on, because I want to fill in some of the blanks for those people who are not aware. So this one guy, Barnett, who is like, turns out his real name is Matt. So it's like that. Once I learned that, I was like really turned off, because I'm like, such nonsense. Like, it's not like I just don't get it. Like, it's so basic that his name is Matt, but whatever. There's these two girls they have to meet. They met in the pod, which is, I can't even describe it. It's so stupid. They had to sit and talk to like a translucent wall for hours on end. And then
what it reminds me of, it's like that show Sliders from the 90s with Jerry O'Connell. I don't know. It was a big thing here in Australia, and they like time traveled through this portal. That's what their wall looks like that they have to talk through.
Yeah, they have to talk to each other for hours on end. And one of the girls was Jessica, who was a total mess, and he wanted to propose to her, but he never did, or something happened, and then he proposed to the other one. What's the other one's name? Amber. This girl Jessica, she, like you said, she looks like she's 40 years old, but she's apparently 34. I don't know how that works, but we all know a few people like that.
Exactly. Who's to say? Maybe she's had a hard life. I don't know.
Oh, she's had a hard life. I'll be the first to say it. And so he didn't choose this girl Jessica, and then she got engaged to somebody else, but she was still pining after him secretly, and it was really gross because, like I said, she was engaged, and I feel like all she wanted to do in the back of her mind was just all she wanted to do. I want to screw Barnett. I feel like that's all she wanted to do was just have a roll in the hay with him. And then now, apparently after this reunion aired, she apparently feels really embarrassed by her behavior, which I can understand. What are your final thoughts on Jessica?
Look, Jessica, or Messica, as I like to call her, I just think I wouldn't actually be surprised if she was lying about her age and she was older, because she was so tied up on the fact that Mark, her fiance, was 10 years younger than her, which nobody else in the entire world cared about.
No.
I think I have this funny perspective on her that when she wasn't doing a talking head or like in the ITM, she just completely forgot that the audience was there. So she acted almost like she knew she was being filmed, but she didn't realize that the things that she was saying in the ITMs was just like, oh my God, like I love Mark so much. I don't care about Barnett at all. How funny. Oh my God, I can't believe it came across that way.
Yeah.
But then she forgot that we could see her getting drunk because she was so heartbroken that she got turned down by him and slobbering all over him and trying to sidle on up to him. It's like, girl, you know that there's the audience have eyes on you, right?
I know this girl. She's got on like short shorts. She's sitting in a chair with her legs crossed, like folded under her, so her like full leg is out. Her fiance is about maybe 5 feet behind her having a drink, and she's just like all in the body language. And I was like, wow, this girl really doesn't have a clue. Surprisingly, though, she was the one that called off getting married. Sorry to spoil that for people, but whatever. I was late to the party, so I'm sure anyone that's listening to this, they either don't care or they've already watched it, but we'll change the subject in a second if you don't care. But what I will say, who shows up to their own wedding by themselves, walks themselves down the aisle, and then leaves with a tote bag by themselves?
This is my favorite part about this show, and I didn't see it coming. So they will have to, okay, the people that get engaged, they have to go through with the ceremony. I'm talking both sides of the family are there. They're all made up. They get their hair done. They get the makeup did. They wear the dress. The man standing down the aisle, they have to go through the entire speech.
Ceremony.
And then
they have to deliver vows. They even make them deliver vows.
And then they have to say, I do or I don't. And that's the deciding moment. And seemingly the people haven't had a conversation about what they're going to say to each other at the end of the aisle. So people just say, I don't, and the other one gets blindsided, and it is wild. Jessica comes striding down that aisle, and you could see she was like, I have never looked better, and I'm on national TV. This is sick. She says, I don't. And Mark's soul is crushed. You see his heart. You see the moment his heart breaks because he truly loved her and gave her so many chances that she did not deserve. And then she's like, sorry, and just walks on out of there, and she's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
She just goes on to live another day.
I know. That was a mess. And for whatever reason, they had these two venues. One of them was like... it was like a country house that they like made over into like a wedding chapel. And then this other place had this crazy carpet. It looked like a conference hall at a hotel. And that one only had 2 weddings. The other place had like 4 weddings. I don't know why they had these 2 random weddings at this like modern contemporary hotel banquet hall. And they even had a crane shot going around a chandelier. And that chandelier, I went back and looked at it twice. That chandelier full of cobwebs. Can you believe that?
Oh, no.
Can you believe that? I would stop the whole wedding. I would never get married under a chandelier that wasn't cleaned. That is terrible.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I'm literally not kidding. Like there was this beautiful chandelier. It was coated in dust, and then you just saw these big long lines illuminate of cobwebs. Now, why would they even use that shot?
That's terrible. I mean, because people like me just wouldn't notice it. The wedding episode was the worst episode. I'm not a wedding girl. I don't understand it. Like, for me to watch every girl come out and say, I've been dreaming of this moment my entire life, and all the men are like, yeah, I've never thought about my wedding until like 3 weeks ago. I was like, who are these women that have been dreaming of their wedding day and their wedding dress since they were 4? It's just not true. I mean, they're reality TV girls, so I guess it makes sense, but
they had like this one-size-fits-all wedding where it was like you couldn't really customize anything except maybe like the color of your dress and flowers. And Barnett's wedding, Barnett and Amber, they had like the things that you would get at the 99-cent only store, like those like plastic candles that you put like the little battery in, and they were in like mason jars, but they were like, some of them were like upside down or on the side, like just like somebody just like threw them in, like a PA, just like, I don't give a damn, like let's just get this over with.
Oh my God.
Those are some of the cheapest weddings I've ever seen. And I went to a wedding in someone's backyard with porta-johns.
No. Oh my God. I didn't get invited to nice things. I've only been to like 2 weddings ever. So I'm okay with that because they're just, I don't know. This
one wedding that I went to, I was in kindergarten and I'm still talking about it.
Even in kindergarten, you had the wherewithal to be traumatized by it.
I'm not kidding. And then let's just, before we wrap, I want to get your thoughts because if in case you missed it, which you very well could, Vanessa and Nick Lachey hosted this show. I hope they weren't paid for this. I really hope they didn't collect any money because they were barely a part of the show and contributed nothing. Why even bother? They had no presence on the show. They could have done the same show without them.
Even on the reunion, they contributed nothing. Nick, who says, Nick, I'm obviously Nick Lachey. I mean, you were maybe an obvious 25 years ago, but right now, the people watching this don't have a clue who you are, mate.
No.
He didn't say a word the entire time. And Vanessa, did you check out her eyelashes? I told you to focus on the eyelashes.
Yes.
They were half falling down her face. Like she just did not push for questions. She didn't dig deep. It was terrible. And that was the most work they both did the entire series.
Easily. I called them the cardboard cutout couple.
Yes.
Because they had about as much personality as two cardboard cutouts at the party store. I mean, there was nothing going on. I don't know. I really hope they didn't get paid. And I don't understand why they were selected, because it's not like there's some, like, when you think of True Love or An Odd Couple, or they're just not synonymous with like a Hollywood it couple. Like they're not even on my radar. I don't know. They must have come really cheap. And for what they did, I hope they did come cheap, because they don't deserve anything. They did a terrible job hosting that show. Can you even say it was hosting? They were in what, like 3 out of 11 episodes?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, the first episode they were in, they kind of popped up, and I don't even think they were in episode 1, or maybe they popped in episode 2 or something, and then they were gone again for a while. And I was like, what the hell is happening? Is that a Backstreet Boy? No, NSYNC. Wait, who the hell is that? And I was and then they were gone again, and I was just like, all right, that was weird. Said about 2 words, but apparently they did help the couples a lot behind the scenes. Don't quote me on that, but I follow a lot of these people from Love is Blind on Twitter, and I've seen comments like, I'm really sorry you guys, like to Nick and Vanessa Lachey, saying like, I'm sorry you guys didn't get like as much time in the edit, and you really helped us, behind the scenes, and you'll never know how much you mean to me, and all this bullshit. So maybe they, were kind of cool behind the scenes, but we certainly didn't get to see it. It's
so weird because we're playing with Netflix. We're not on network TV where you have to have a 36-minute show.
Right.
I just don't understand why make the edit, unless if they wanted to show that they were impartial towards the couples and not involved in the process. But then again, why even have them? I don't know. Are they getting a second season? Nobody knows yet. What do you think? Would you watch?
Well, I had Kate Casey on my podcast, and she said she talked to the creator of the show, who said they want to do a second season, and not just a second season, but spin-offs. So who knows? But I will be watching if there's a second season. I actually can't wait.
I think
will you be watching?
I will, because I would be interested, especially if they could bring back that Jessica. They can bring the other people back to let's try the experiment again. I want to give it another shot. And so if they could but they need to cast like some they were trying too hard to get too many like regular people. I need to see like real characters. They could really diversify it up quite a bit. I don't know if it's great that, Cameron is so successful, but what if he's just such a nice guy? I need to see people a little more trashy.
I know, but my fear is, and because these people were all pretty good looking to variant degrees, but I mean, my fear is if they diversify too much, we're going to have like much older people. I'm talking even older than Jessica Messica and people of different shapes and sizes. I don't want people to fall in love and then the gates open and somebody's face just falls, like every Tinder date I've ever been on, when I look at someone and I'm like, oh, you're actually 4 foot tall. Could have mentioned that. This is weird now, but I've had a guy actually come up and come on a date and say to me, I could tell you were disappointed the second you saw me. My face must have just shown it. And I tried so hard to be nice and stay for a drink and look. Sometimes you just can't hide it. And I really, really don't want that to happen to somebody on my TV, but I kind of also do.
Oh, I absolutely want to. I absolutely do. I'm telling you, I would love it. Because it doesn't have to, maybe just 1 or 2 couples where it's you're great, and and then they walk out and the person has a front tooth missing or something. I just want to see
Oh my God. Actually, that's amazing. I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, just give me one. How about just one shock value where the person has to pretend that they like this creature? I truly hope this was an escape and everyone can forget about the world for a few minutes. If I'm good for anything, it's that. That's really my goal in life, is just, I feel it, you feel it. life is really challenging, and anytime anyone can be a little entertained by something I put out there and forget their problems for even 45 minutes, God bless you. That's all that I want. That's all I'm looking for is a distraction. So I hope this did it for you. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Kirsty.
Thank you.
And where can people escape even more with your podcast?
So my podcast is called Reality TV and Me. I'm on iTunes and Spotify and all like kind of the main places. I have been told I'm not in some podcast realms or apps. So just check me out on the big ones. And you can find me on Twitter, which is She's Pernicious, in an homage to our Camille Donatacci, whatever her name is these days, grammar. And I'm also She's Pernicious on my personal Instagram, and Reality TV on me on Instagram as well. I'm doing Married at First Sight Australia at the moment, which is an absolute shit show, and it's phenomenal. Even if you can't get it, although I do post on the podcast where you can get the episodes overseas. It is just so fun to listen to. I do it with my friend Jacques, and he has all the behind the scenes tea. It is insane over there.
Is that Jacques from the Daily Mail?
Yes, that's him.
We've had him on. I've had him on Rants. I know him very well.
He's got some good stuff. He got some good insight. Yeah, so he's lots of fun. He's my beautiful co-host for Married at First Sight recaps. And all of my Love is Blind episodes are on the pod as well. I've covered the entire season. So if you're into the show, relive it now.
I'm gonna now that I watched the reunion, I'm gonna have to listen to your take on that in its entirety on your podcast. So I'll be listening.
Yeah, good.
Well, thank you for making me laugh, and thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
All right, listeners, stay safe out there. Be healthy, be happy. Good luck. I'll talk to you soon.
This has been Grant's Rants. Support the Rants on Patreon at patreon.com/Grant's Rants. Follow Grant on Twitter and Instagram at It's Grant's Rants. Cover art created by Howie Ronay. Voiceover by Aw Yeah! Original theme music by Alexander Arntzen. The Grant Michael Collection.